Welcome to the Wire to Wire podcast. As always, it's me, your host Yusuf. Now, without further ado, let's just get right to it. So, Giannis recently returned back from his calf injury. Now, I did an episode discussing that, but it was good to see him back in the lineup, and they played against the Chicago Bulls. Now, Giannis had an incredible return game, scoring 29 points, and to cap off the game, he scored a windmill dunk, which visibly frustrated the Chicago Bulls, and of course, chaos ensued. I'm going to play you guys a clip of what happened.
As Giannis put up 27 in his return to the lineup, plus two more.
I'll tell you what, if you're the Bulls, you should have fouled him. As soon as you saw that he was going to start doing that, you should have hustled down the floor and you should have fouled him. And now Boots and them are taking exception to it.
That was a take from Giannis.
But
now the Bulls and Bucks meet towards center court.
You can't be mad.
We have some shoving.
You can't be mad.
We have some coaches getting involved.
You can't be mad at Giannis. There's an unspoken rule that you don't do that. But as soon as the Bulls saw that he was starting to dribble towards the basket, they should have went and fouled him.
All right, so you guys saw the clip there. Now, I have no problem with Giannis doing that play towards the end of the game. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, that's not really good sportsmanship. The Bucks already had the game sealed. He didn't need to do that. But I have no problem with him doing that. At the end of the day, as the leader of the team, he needs to do whatever he can to galvanize his troops. And every second counts. So when he's doing something like that, right, that can rally the team and get the team excited, get them going. And then in the end, when you see that little, I guess you want to say, scuffle happen towards the end of the game, you see his teammates come to his defense. Those are the kind of moments that really build camaraderie. Now, outside of the malice in the palace and a few handful of fights that have happened in the NBA players, for the most part, are not really trying to throw hands. Yes, you have anomalies and you have exceptions that happen, but for the most part, they're not trying to throw hands. It's just a whole, hold me back, right? And so that's really all that's happening here. But this is one of those moments that, strangely enough, could be the thing that gels and bonds the team together. So as a leader, you have to try to figure out different ways to try to get the team to rally behind you and get behind the collective goal. If it means doing a windmill dunk at the end of a game against the Chicago Bulls, then so be it. The expectations for the Bucks were that they were going to be one of the premier teams in the Eastern Conference. And obviously, this has been a very up and down, mostly down season for them. And it hasn't gone really the way I'm sure either of them hoped or what many of us had even predicted. So at this point, it's just a matter of trying to find something that works. For the Chicago Bulls to be upset, you should honestly be upset with yourselves. If you don't like what's happening, then just play better. It's really that simple. But obviously, the Chicago Bulls, they're not quite there yet as a team. They still have long ways to go. And they're going to do what they got to do in order to stop it. Now, overall, like I said, I don't mind what Giannis did. But I must admit, I was a little bit concerned after he did that windmill dunk, the way that he landed. I was a little bit concerned only because he's just coming back from a calf injury. This is his first game back. And one thing about calf injuries that we've come to learn is that a lot of times when calf injuries are reported, we see some athletes start to have an Achilles injury after. And those ones are a lot more severe. They have a longer recovery time, and it has a possibility to be detrimental to a player's career. So from that standpoint, I was a little bit worried after I saw him land, wondering like, ooh, is everything okay there? Like I said, I understand the reasoning and the thought process behind why he did the dunk. Obviously, it's to galvanize the team. But afterwards, when I saw the landing, I got a little bit worried. Because obviously, you never want to see players get injured, especially an injury of that magnitude. So I think Giannis has to be a little bit more cerebral in how he approaches things, especially considering that you just came back from a calf injury. The mentality you don't want to have is that, oh, just because it happened to other players, I don't think it can happen to me. It can happen to anyone. So you got to be a little bit more cerebral and be able to pick your spots more. Now, again, the premise behind him doing it, I understand, right? I don't really have a problem with him doing it. It's just, for me, you got to be a little bit more thoughtful, especially when you're coming back from an injury, about situations and scenarios like that. But if the Chicago Bulls have a problem with it, then you should have played better. But the reality is you were in that position. The game was out of hand. You lost. That's it. So he's gonna do what he's gonna do to galvanize his team. The Bulls are gonna do what they're gonna do. They want to also send a message that, yo, we're not cool with that, and they have some level of competitive spirit. So I have really no problem with what happened there. This is just basketball at the end of the day. And I kind of like to see that kind of passion, because at the end of the day, it shows that these guys care. It shows that it matters. The last thing you want to see in a scenario like that is a guy doing a dunk like that, and then everyone's just kind of indifferent. And at the end of the game, guys are standing at half court, smiling, being buddy, going on about their life like they didn't just take an L. So in my eyes, these guys as competitors are doing what they're supposed to be doing. This is basketball. But overall, it was good to see Giannis back on the court. Hopefully that calf injury is a thing of the past and it doesn't nag him too much. I personally would have liked to have seen him take a little bit more time off just to ensure that it's something that is completely settled and the dust is cleared. He has nothing to worry about. But if he feels comfortable, and he looked great in last night's game, me as someone who watches the game, I was just kind of err on the side of caution. But I understand too, the Milwaukee Bucks have been somewhat underperforming. He wants to be in the game to make sure that he can help propel his team. So I get it. But overall, I have no problem with him doing that. Again, even though the Bulls were mad, you could have just played better. But I really don't have a problem with their reaction either, because all it shows me is that they're competitive and that they care. But that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and share with your people. You guys can also follow me and the podcast on social media. I'm very active on there, especially Instagram and TikTok. You guys can also check out my books. All of the links will be in the description. Until next time.